Good morning. It's Sunday, April 13th, 2025. My name is Kathy Mitchell, and I'm your service leader for today. In this congregation, all are welcome. Here we strive to support one another as we search for truth, meaning, and community within ourselves and in our lives. Whatever path you currently follow, wherever you are on that path, however you name what is holy or deeply meaningful to you, we welcome you to share your journey with us. However you identify, warmly welcome you to our community of strivers and seekers. Much appreciation to our office administrator, Genevieve Gonzalez, who's doing an amazing job keeping lines of communication open while working from home. And also to Media Director Jake Tranter, always flexible in making sure that today we have a service to share. We invite the gong 3 times, once in memory of those who have come before us, dedicating their time, money, and hearts to the building of this congregation. Once in all of us who are here today, working with enthusiasm to maintain and grow this beloved community. Once with much love for those who will dedicate themselves to building this community in the future.
We come together in this time of shared worship, each arriving from our own space through this virtual connection.
In the passage of time, each has experienced their own journey.
Though separated by space, we come together in shared intention.
We come together as a community of seekers, a community of doers.
Our shared time as community is made sacred by our memories and by our longing for and faith in our continuing connection.
We are each part of a shared journey, destination unknown, yet we have chosen to travel together. A reminder to us all, the end of our pledge drive is coming, and if you haven't yet sent in your pledges, please do so as soon as possible. And now we hear from one of our members, Bill Esser, why I pledge.
Good morning or good day, yeah. I was asked to do a testimonial and to make it somewhat short. And it's like, why am I at the Unitarian Church? Well, I have kind of a varied background that people may know. I've been Catholic for 50 years, and then I decided to become a Presbyterian for 10, and I always called it being a Cathotarian, where I could finally pick and choose a little bit more than what I got out of Catholicism. And when we moved out here about 10 years ago, we went to an evangelical church for a while, and I felt like I was right back into sin and moral theology and judging other people. And I felt really kind of lost. I was going, I don't think I fit anywhere. You know, I don't fit here, I don't fit in Catholicism, I don't fit in the Presbyterian church necessarily, and I certainly don't fit in an evangelical church. And I kept asking, where is Matthew's supper? Where are all the people who don't fit anywhere else that should gather around the table and be together? Where are all the outcasts at? And I'm going, I think if such a church existed, maybe that's where I would be, you know. Where we're not called to be members of a denominational club, where judging and condemning others is the emphasis, where Muslims, Buddhists, Mormons, Seventh-day Adventists, and all those who don't have the same sexual orientation, heterosexual orientation that I have, are welcome. And who don't believe that Jesus came to die on a cross because we're all dirty, rotten sinners, but actually maybe we were loved by God from the beginning, and as we are created, and possibly God loves diversity. Maybe a church that helps us with our spiritual journey, saying we all have questions, we all want to find that path, and it may be different for all of us, and it's not the same for all of us. And one of the primary things for me was I didn't have to leave my brain at the door. I didn't have to believe that Scripture is a literal interpretation, that the world is 10,000 years old, that the story of Adam and Eve is a literal story versus a story that's trying to teach us about how God loves us and where we should be. And that if we have pain and suffering, it isn't God coming to teach us a lesson and toughen us up, but maybe to make us realize that he's always there for us, that he came down from heaven, existed with us on this earth, and suffers with us. So looking at all that diversity, I'm going, where's that church? Where's that existence? For me, I'm really lucky. So my wife found the Unitarian Church here, and she dragged me to it. And she said, possibly this is a home for us. And I found that to be the case. It is a home for the lost, those who have a different orientation than we do sexually, who have all the same questions that I do. So if you ask me, why am I part of this congregation? Why do I find the Unitarian Church a place for me to be? Well, this is my testimony. This is why I am here.
And now a reading from Starhawk. We are all longing to go home to some place we've never been, a place half remembered and half envisioned we can only catch glimpses of from time to time. Community. Somewhere there are people to whom we can speak with passion without having the words catch in our throats. Somewhere, a circle of hands will open to receive us. Eyes will light up as we enter. I know we're all looking forward to the time when we can all be together in person. Meanwhile, the board and Sunday services are working hard in collaboration to ensure we continue to have meaningful and joyful Sunday services. ServPro has been selected to provide mitigation required before we can safely inhabit the building again. They're scheduled to begin work April 21st. The board's also getting bids for work that would hopefully prevent reoccurrence of our recent water intrusion. Our partnership with the First United Methodist Church did not go as planned, and the board decided to hold services online until we're able to be back in our building. There is a chance, operative word chance, that we will be able to be back in the building, at least in the upstairs, by the middle of May. The board has been meeting weekly to ensure that all that needs to be done is done. We take time now in our service to share in community with each other our joys and concerns regarding significant milestones in our lives. I invite all of you to join with me in lighting a real or virtual candle for ourselves, for each other, and for our beloved congregation.
I invite you now to sit in whatever way is comfortable with you and allows your breath to flow most easily as we move into a time of shared contemplation and meditation together. Though we're at a distance in many places, know that in this manner we can simply breathe in and out together. Knowing though we may be sitting alone in our home, in our kitchen, our living room, our den, our bedroom, we're still together with everyone else in this community, breathing in and out together in shared silence. Take one cleansing, full breath in and out as we continue our time of shared worship.
One spirit, one voice. the sound of voices three, singing together in harmony, surrendering to the mystery. This is the sound of voices three. This is the sound of voices three. This is the sound of all of us, singing with love and the will to trust. Leave the rest behind and we'll turn to dust. This is the sound of all of us. This is the sound of all of us. This is the sound of one voice, one people, one voice, a song for every one of us. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of one voice.
We appreciate all who are watching today and are, as always, deeply grateful for your support of our shared hopes and dreams. We are committed to using your gifts to making a difference in the world and in our beloved community. Our speaker today is Reverend Dennis Reynolds. Reverend Dennis came to ministry after a 30-year career as a preschool teacher and administrator at the University of Oregon. He is retired to Eugene after serving churches in Oregon and Washington State and as a hospice chaplain. He's been an activist both locally and globally. Reverend Dennis believes the most powerful sermons are often written with a religious text in one hand and a current news source in the other. He enjoys lifelong learning and the practice of crafting sermons, and of course, being our consulting minister.
It's been a difficult time here in the United States of America and a difficult time here in the Umpqua Unitarian Universalist Congregations community. Though I wasn't with you on that Sunday when Reverend Jody launched the pledge campaign message, I did see the photos, and one in particular caught my eye. It was a picture of people eating cake together. And in that picture were some particular faces: Lily, Jake, Johnny, Andy, and Ben. People without gray hair. Who knew? Hooray! It was definitely a time of celebration here in this congregation. Little did those gathered on that Sunday know what was unfolding right underneath their feet. For the record rainfall that had fallen in the Umpqua Basin had begun to cause flooding in the Umpqua Unitarian Universalist Congregation's basement. Some of that kind of flooding had happened before, but unlike the previous time where water had flowed under a door because of a clogged drain, this flooding episode was worse, much worse. Water had also leaked in through the through the walls, and soaked the sheetrock and the insulation behind it. As many of you may know, this not only damages the materials, but the moisture therein provides environment for a petri dish, if you will, for the growth of molds, some of which can spread spores that are toxic and dangerous. While many of you on that particular Sunday were unaware, a few stalwart fools rushed to the basement and began to mop up what they could, not knowing about the damage that was happening within the walls. We offer thanks to Bill and Al and Andy for just wading in when it was time. You know, after the event, I read with sadness the emails that began to appear in my feed and began to emerge describing the extent of the damage and the depth and the breadth of the issues that were arising. A variety of swear words came into my head, and I mumbled a couple of them under my breath, words that I can't share here as part of a worship service. But I kept asking myself, what are they going to do? What comes next? How can I help? Answers to some of those questions began to soon emerge. You canceled worship for one Sunday, and a cadre of you began to plan next steps. Your board and your newly expanded building committee stepped into the breach, and they stepped up big time. If I was with you in person, I'd invite a standing ovation. We may try a karaoke version, which is something like this. And I'd offer, too, applause for all those who stepped up in so many ways to assure that the work of church continued. Things were happening because people were making them continue to happen. Important items were removed from the church. Genevieve created a new home office. Bids were collected and reviewed, and one was selected, and mediation work was scheduled and has now begun. Alternate worships were planned. Meanwhile, financial help from outside was sought. Insurance claims were begun, and folks began to look at the possibility of a new place to be for a time. There was a brief respite. It appeared as though it were a ray of sunshine when another congregation's minister invited you to share their space. But as you know, that did not work out as all, including that minister, had hoped it might. As we know, communications within and between any communities, and from my viewpoint, especially at church, can get, complicated. Well, complications unfortunately led to a suspension of UUUC's use of that building. Did the board and other leaders freak out, throw up their arms and say, we can't deal with this, it's just too much? No. Quite to the contrary, they continued to move forward. I had the privilege of sitting in on several of their multiple problem-solving Zoom meetings, and you all should be pleased and proud of what I saw there. I saw folks ready to continue to do the work of church. The most amazing part of it was I heard people laughing together and getting occasionally weepy. Or maybe it was just me who got weepy when I saw how much they were present and cared for each other and the shared work they were there to engage in. They genuinely cared for each other and were committed to moving forward towards the best solution they could in a way that assured that relationship within that Zoom room was of primary importance. Relationship as being of primary importance. They were getting stuff done and doing in a compassionate way. For the people in those virtual gatherings shared a common commitment. They were bound by a special kind of relationship, a covenant, a sacred covenant. Now, much is often made of what Unitarian Universalists don't believe or don't do. We are a non-creedal faith. There is no creed, no set beliefs you are asked to subscribe to. What you choose to believe is your choice. You don't have to believe any particular message. We're a free church. We turn our backs on dogma. But today, instead of talking about what we're not, I want to focus most of all on what we are as Unitarian Universalists. At the continental level, we are an association of congregations that covenants together. Here, you at UUC are covenant community. And though that word has religious and sometimes legal meaning, what it means at the core is that relationships are primary. And that you make a promise made from deep within, that you will, to the best of your ability, keep that connection, that relationship as primary. So where are you going? That is a mystery. But you will get there. Heaven knows how you will get there, but you know you will. And you know that wherever some future there might be, you will arrive there in time together, bonded by and bound together by your faith in each other and your faith in the power of relationship, the power of community. Now, I've shared with you in the past an image of church that I remember, and I no doubt many of you remember from your childhood. I'm going to ask you, wherever you are, to do it with me. Begin by bringing your fingers together, weaving them together like this, and then closing your hands. Remember this one? Here's the church, and here's the steeple. Now, the steeple, we don't have a steeple on most UU churches, though some of the old ones do. A steeple was constructed as a way to reach towards the heavens. I'd suggest for today we think of our steeple as a radio or cell tower that's beaming this service to you, okay? Anyway, here's the church, here's the steeple, here comes the important part. Open the door and see all the people. The people, that's the church. Keep your hands that way for just a little bit of time and feel that spot where each finger touches the other, where it makes connection. That connection, that connecting point, that's the essence of what's church. That's what brings us together in a sacred covenant. The people. Thank you for indulging me in that one. You know, for people and separate, but connected as one. Connected not by a creed, but by a covenant. No one book or narrow teaching, and all are welcome to be part of that community. As you say on many a Sunday, whoever you are, whomever you love, and however you name the holy, you are welcome here in this covenant community, bound together, connected by a shared belief in the power of love. Our love-centered values are what help us navigate our way forward. As I shared with you last month before the flood, perhaps we might call that time BF or something like that, but I digress. Last summer, the General Assembly of Covenanted Congregations we call the Unitarian Universalist Association, the UUA, voted on and approved a new expression of values. They approved this. There'll be an insert there of the image we used last month. They approved a statement of values with love at its center. Values that can serve as our North Star as we seek our way forward through perilous and uncharted times. The UU congregation of Whidbey Island, where I served for many years, had as the opening part of their mission statement, "Love is the spirit of this congregation." My home church in Eugene begins our mission statement, which we repeat every Sunday, "Empowered by love." While the official mission statement of this congregation does not explicitly lift up love, it does articulate that you are here to create a community that I have witnessed and experienced firsthand as a loving community. A community that seeks to connect with each other and with life in many forms beyond any physical walls and works to put into practice. Or to use more religious language, you seek to make manifest in the world your deepest values. As we noted last month, these values are justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, inclusion, and generosity. I also shared with last month that we've established an acronym using the letters of the word to create. Ta-da! There he is, Jet Pig. Okay, I know it's a little silly, but I promised that I was gonna show you the t-shirt this week. This particular image was designed by a congregation in Vermont. You know, it's a little silly, but sometimes silly is just what we need. Sometimes humor, especially humor that comes in no way at the expense of another, is just what we need. Laughter is indeed the best medicine. The board members laughed, sometimes at the absurdity of the current situation, and sometimes in spite of it. One of the things I like best about this image of Jet Pig is that he's going someplace. And that sense of going someplace is something we always want to aspire to do and to be, to manifest the values that make up the name Jet Pig. Justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, inclusion, and generosity are certainly values that can serve each of us and as individuals and together as a community as we seek our way forward to determine where we're going. Our gray hymnal, Singing the Living Traditions, which I can report are now in storage, includes an African-American spiritual, Follow the Drinking Gourd, which is attributed to be a map song that traces its roots to before the end of slavery in America. The lyrics gourd is the Big Deep Dipper, the celestial guidepost that points towards the North Star. For to head north was to seek freedom. The image of the North Star, at least to those of us here in the Northern Hemisphere, has long been a tool for literally and metaphorically to guide us, to help us map our way forward. Former President Barack Obama offered that there are going to be a set of core values that shouldn't be up for debate, should be our North Star. I certainly long for such a North Star, especially now. Whether or not we believe that such guiding values exist in the current United States administration, we know that we as a covenant community have our values, our North Star to guide us. It's certainly articulated in another UU hymn, Love Will Guide Us. Love will guide us. And knowing that is something called faith. Our Universalist ancestors set us on such a love-centered trajectory long ago, and we continue to move in that direction. Even when we do not know the exact way forward, we know that we will be guided by love and compassion. My own Buddhist teacher, Thich Nhat Hanh, advised that if I lose my direction, I have to look for the North Star, and I go to the north. That does not mean I expect to arrive at the North Star. I just want to go in that direction. So much is unknown and so much is unknowable, and yet what we do know is that love is central, and love will guide us on our continuing journey together in community. May it be so. I invite you now to rise wherever you are in body or in spirit and join in singing what I know is a favorite hymn to many of you, Blue Boat Home. But this is a slightly different version, perhaps a little more challenging to sing along with, but I trust you'll enjoy it. Blue Boat Home.
Low below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean, and still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, and never harbor nor port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. The sun is my sail, as the moon is my rudder, as I ply these starry seas, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, sailing here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls are just making our way by the light of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat home. A beautiful blue boat home. Beautiful blue boat. Beautiful blue boat home. Beautiful blue boat home. Beautiful blue boat home. Our beautiful blue boat home.
We extinguish the chalice with these words from the Japanese poet Basho. The sun and the moon are eternal travelers.
Even the years wander on.
A lifetime adrift in a boat.
Or in old age, leading a tired horse into the years.
Every day is a journey, and the journey itself is home.
Salam, shalom, amen, and blessed be.
Let's all join together in hearts and minds until we can be together again in person as we sing Go Lift It Up.
Go